Hi YouTube, it's Chris, K2CJB with K2CJB Radio, and the time has come. We're going to install the radio in the truck. So we're going to go over today where we're going to put it in the truck, especially the main part of the radio, and also how we're running the power into the truck. I scoped a lot of this out already, so I'll just show you the path I've decided to take. And the rest of it's pretty straightforward wiring. So let's see how we do. Okay, let's talk about where the radio is going to go in the truck. The first place I looked was under the passenger seat. And that worked, except there's a inertia sensor, or the seatbelt sensor hangs loose underneath the seat. And when you move the seat, it would hit the radio. The radio wouldn't move, but it would just bump the radio. The radio was also wedged in there, so I really didn't need a bracket or mount it or anything. Over here, under the driver's side, that same inertia or seatbelt sensor is in there as well. The issue there is when you'd move the seat back, it would hit the radio hard to the point where the radio couldn't sit straight in there anymore. So that wouldn't work either. So then I looked behind the flip-up seat, and sure enough, I've got a nice big spot here. I moved some stuff out of the way. That wood box holds all the tools and everything else I need to carry in the truck. So I've got a nice big space here. I will have to come up with some way of securing the radio, because right now it's just sitting here loose. But I like this location. I have access to the SD card port, easy access to the wiring. So this is where we're going to leave it. Now let's take a look at the power routing. The battery on the F-250 is over there on the passenger side. The grommet to get into the truck is down here below the master cylinder on the driver's side. Where I've chosen to mount the radio is on the driver's side. The cable that came with the 7100 is about 10 feet, which is about 3 or 4 feet too short. So I have some extra heavy-duty battery wiring that's actually fused already, but I'm just going to use a section of this and I'm going to splice it. I hate to do that, but I'm going to splice it into the 7100 power cable, route it through this grommet, and then bring it to the radio behind the driver's seat. The other reason why I want to mount the radio on the driver's side is my Diamond 7500 is right here, and the cable for that, of course, is really not that long on my K400 mount. So I'm hoping that'll reach. This is what's going to be replaced. This is my Kenwood TMG 707A. Works fine. I've had it for many, many years. Works great. Very reliable. On top of that, the unit NCB works fine, but it's too big. So I'm going to remove that. So both of these are going to come out. And to my friend Greg, KG5 OCW, yes, this is going to go away now. Yeah, I know. But it worked for CB and for the UHF rig, but it's not going to work for the ICOM. The new CB is going to get mounted down in here. I got a really small CB that's going to get put in over here. Okay, the truck has a grommet right here. I had to make a little slot in it to get the two leads out, but this is going to be my jumper. This is that extra wire that I had. I'll make a connection under the hood, and I'll make one inside here. Well, just like when you do work on your house, when you open up something, you'll find a surprise. Previous owner did some work, I think they were on a construction site. Got to clean that mess. Well, it's been an interesting afternoon so far, pretty long one. Power is run. The antenna cables are all run, about to be connected to the 7100. But I had to connect the CB in the meantime because I bridged the power connections inside the truck. So I'm going to walk you through the power path and then show you where we're at to this point. Starting at the battery, you'll notice that the Ford Motor Company has been kind enough to put these sort of connections on the battery on both terminals. So that's where I'm going to connect these lugs that I have crimped on. There's one of my connections I made there to the splice that I had to make. It's all tucked in back there. I ran a new path for it. It goes down through the grommet, which goes through the firewall. And just kind of follow with me here. We come in through the firewall. There's the CB. The power connections are all bridged and tucked in behind here. We come along here. We pulled this panel up, as you saw that dirt underneath it. All the cables are in here for the 7100, and here they are here. Here's the VHF, UHF. Of course, the ham sticks are over there. Power comes through, and we also ran the control cable for the head for the 7100. Oh, by the way, I made myself 45 cents when I cleaned out the bottom of the underneath the step here. So there's the control cable waiting to have a home. We pulled the CB and the other radio out. There's the two speaker connections. So that's where we are to this point. It's been a couple of hours worth of work, but we're getting there. So I'm going to connect the battery and see if the CB fires up, and then we'll disconnect it again and worry about connecting the 7100. We've made the connections for the battery, and Never thought CB channel 19 would sound so good. All right, time to figure out how to mount the control panel for the 7100. I wanted to come up with a way where I could easily remove the control panel and take it with me from the truck. So my thought was to use one of these quick disconnects that photographers use for their cameras. This plate fits inside, and then when you take the radio out, this will come right off. So this will mount on the bottom of the control panel. So let's see. Well, that's what I get for working on my radio out here in the shop, huh? Okay, and then we just screw this into the bottom of the radio, of the control panel. Make sure it's kind of squared up. Snug it up. And then the thought would be that when this is mounted on a plate, this would be open like so. We put the radio in and it snaps in. And when I go to leave, I take it out. So, of course, we have to disconnect everything too. But so let's. Now, my thought for that was to use this kind of a plate, cut it to length, bend it, put a hole in it. I have some 1/4 by 20 screws that I can use to mount this to this plate, this bar, and then mount this bar on the dashboard in the truck. Let's try it. I went in the truck and measured the positioning of this plate and where I want the control panel. The plate needed to be 10.5 inches long. I'm going to do my bend at 5.25 inches. The control panel will sit on one side. The rest of it will screw into the dashboard. So now let's just mount the camera adapter plate on here. I've got a nice lock washer for the 1/4 by 20 screw. And we'll just assemble this. And then I'll figure out the holes. I'll put some holes in for the rest of the plate so we can screw it onto the dashboard. There we go. Nice. Well, good morning. I spent some time last night finishing up bending the metal and drilling some holes, and well, here it is. Here's the finished bracket. I threw a coat of paint on it. This is with the camera mount, and check this out. This is how the control panel fits on. Here's the panel, and we just simply, and now it's on, and it's pretty sturdy. It's like, I don't think it's going to go anywhere, so I think we're going to be okay. So next thing to do is to install the bracket in the truck, make the connections, and turn the radio on. And now we'll see how this all works. Look at that. Clear the switches, clear my power port, we're good. And I can give a little bit of a turn if I need to, but I kind of like the way it's situated here. Not bad. All right, let's hook things up and see what happens. And here's the final operating position. I tie wrapped all the cables up there. I should have black tie wraps. I ran out of them. But the control panel's pretty sturdy here. I mean, it's going to bounce around, but every radio bounces around in a truck. I've got pretty easy access to all the buttons. Yeah, so here's the 7100 installed, and the CB is tucked away down in there, nice and out of the way. And yes, it does work, as you saw earlier. So let's take a look in the back seat and see what we did with the radio itself. The main part of the 7100 is here underneath the back seat. I'm going to come up with some sort of a strap or some way to mount that in there. Right now it's just resting there. And I'm not too happy having something resting, laying around in a truck if I happen to stop short. Over there is a 2x1 switch. When the switch is in the passenger side position, it's connected to the hamstick on the passenger side. And when I flip it to the driver's side, it's connected to whatever hamstick's on the driver's side. So right now the driver's side is the 40 meter antenna and the passenger side is the 20 meter antenna. I can just reach behind the seat and easily flip that switch. And now the moment of truth. Here's the 7100. Let's power it up. Okay, that sounds wonderful. It's Well, I'd say it works. Well, the install of the ICOM IC7100 into my truck is done. We installed a couple of ham sticks on the back of the truck. We reused the VHF UHF antenna. We've reused the mag mount for the CB. We put a new CB in there while we're at it, and we bonded the truck. So there's a lot of work we had to do on this project. I hope these videos helped you, and if there's anything you think I can do to maybe improve this system, please leave some comments below. Again, if these videos helped you and are instructional, please help me out and subscribe. Definitely hit like and let me know that you liked them, and hit the bell. And any other videos I do, you'll get notified right away. So I'm glad you came along for this journey. It was a lot of fun. So until next time, 73 from K2CJB.